straight people, when did you realize you weren't gay? When 7-year-old me went and saw Annie. People laugh at me, but she was my first crush. When another man played with my dick, and I realized I didn't enjoy it. When I was 12 years old, a male friend asked me if I was homosexual or heterosexual. I didn't know what either meant, but I did know we were called homo sapiens. So I said I was homosexual. He laughed at me. He then explained the difference, and then I said I must be heterosexual because I had sex with his mom. As a serious response, I remember when I was a kid, not sure of age, being aware of the concept. At that time I still thought girls were boring and just wanted to play football with my mates or throw rocks at stuff. For a very short period of time I think I had the misconception that gay men were just guys who didn't like girls. Sometime after that, girls started getting butts and I had hair on my balls and things changed. To be honest, I think I've always known. I was just too ashamed to admit it until now. I never really thought about it till I was out dancing with some friends, and when I went to the restroom a guy followed me in and propositioned me. I told him I'm flattered but straight. That's when I knew for sure. I remember being physically attracted to women at a remarkably young age. I don't remember exactly when, but before I had hit puberty, I just sort of knew. I love the way the female body looks. I love the shapes, the curves, the contours. It just felt natural. If this thread makes it to the top, you will start a trend of thousands of threads with inverted titles. I'm still not sure. I got a boner making a baked potato in the microwave earlier today, so it's really anybody's guess. Pretty much the same story gay people typically say. I've always just known. I've always been fascinated with the female form. I know a lot of the responses in this thread are jokes, but I honestly wasn't sure for a while in about 7th grade. It wasn't like I ever really liked boys, but everyone in my class thought I was gay, so it honestly made me question it myself. I was pretty sure I wasn't, but there was always a shadow of doubt until my junior year of high school, when I got my first girlfriend. The first time I put my hand down her pants, I'm pretty sure that's when I knew the f***ers in my class were wrong. I was addicted. I discovered that girls were shaped nicely, with breasts and hips. Their hair looked good, and often smelled good. When I had an opportunity, I discovered that their skin was soft and smooth, and that they would respond in a very nice way when you pressed and rubbed that skin in the right way. I knew that all of this was a good thing, and that I wanted to know more. Actually, I thought I was gay for a while, dated women for a couple years. I'm female, and then went back to men, and now I've been dating men exclusively. I wouldn't be opposed to giving another woman a shot if I felt strongly about her, but when I picture my future, it's with a man. So, I realized I'm mostly straight after exploring my options. There is a single moment when I knew for sure. I grew up around gay men. Many gay men. I always kind of wished to be gay. I knew I was straight, but I thought that maybe I could be gay too, just like all the wonderful gay men in my life. As I got older, I wondered about this idea that we are all a little bit queer. I grew up in such a queer supportive environment, and yet I'm still a little put off by over gay sexuality. I wondered if this was just cultural conditioning, or if I'm actually far on the straight end of the spectrum. So I'm in college and I go out with some gay men friends. We were at a gay bar, and I was getting hit on. Men were buying me drinks. It was incredible. I realized why it is fun for women to go out. I start dancing with this beautiful man. We are grinding, and I'm having fun, but nothing sexual is happening. Then he bends forward and kisses my neck, and I will never forget the smell of his hair. You know how smell can be so primal? It somehow gets past all those thinking parts of your brain, and in an instant I knew that this masculine smell was just wrong for me. It was a powerful moment of clarity. I realized I wasn't gay when I stopped thinking of gay people negatively. I also got bored watching dicks in porn. I wanted them to shut up and go back to the tits and vaginas. I thought about creating a throwaway for this, but screw it. When I was younger, and even up into college, I battled with my sexuality a lot. There's actually a lot that went into it, but I'll just say the main things. I was raised with all sisters, and no brothers. Because of that, my sense of normal is much more feminine than what most guys my age thought. I learned how to process emotions, verbalize them, and discuss things much earlier than most guys. So many things about who I am are much less masculine than what the standard model of masculinity says I should be like. When I moved to college, I joined a fraternity. I love the experience I've had and wouldn't trade it for the world, but it was a really weird transition. There were several people who singled me out throughout my experience and consistently told me how gay I was. At first I just kept shaking it off. I've always been attracted to girls. There was no chance I was gay. After a couple years of this though, it planted a seed, and there were times when I'd think, what if I am? What if they see something about me I don't? I mean, I'm different, after all. Now, couple this gender stereotyping with the fact that I was extremely self-conscious, physically. I came into college 5 feet 11 and about 190 pounds. But a quite chubby 190. I was not very fit. I wasn't obese, but I always struggled with how I looked physically. So at the same time that I was having all of these worries psychologically, I was also focusing constantly on improving my appearance, losing weight, gaining muscle. I would watch movies and start to notice what guys wore, how they looked, etc. These two things created a positive feedback loop where, for about a year, I wondered if maybe I was gay and was just denying it or afraid to admit it. I never had a physical attraction to another male, but I did envy the way other guys looked, and I confused the two things. So to answer the question, I realized I officially wasn't gay when I realized that your sexuality is not defined by how you conform to various stereotypes. This reminds me of a story from when I was in basic training. There was this one drill sergeant who was actually kind of a funny guy when he wasn't busy smoking the shit out of you and putting the fear of God into you. One day, he came in front of the formation and squared up real close in front of one of the recruits in our formation. We'll just call him Private N. Name. Private N. Name, are you gay? He asked, point blank, obviously making the guy uncomfortable. Drill Sergeant, no Drill Sergeant. He replied, sweating bullets and looking very awkward at that point. Oh yeah. How do you know you aren't gay, Private N. Name? The Drill Sergeant said to him. Drill Sergeant, because I'm just not gay. Drill Sergeant, you want to know how I know I'm not gay, N. Name? At this point Private N. Name just doesn't say anything. He's not sure what the f*** to think at this point. Then, while giving poor Private N. Name the hardest coldest stare in the world, the Drill Sergeant said, because I sucked at once, and I didn't like it, before storming off and walking away. It was pretty obvious that half the formation was wondering, did he really just say that? And the other half was trying extremely hard to hold back from laughing their asses off at the position of attention. I don't think you really know if you're gay or not until you try it out. My rule of thumb is to try 10 guys or girls if you're a girl. If you like 6, you're gay. I liked 4. Straight. I met a girl I liked and loved, and God, she's so stunning. A couple of years later I started to lift. Lots of dicks in the changing room. Do not want. When little Sissy's skirt raised up, I got a mini chub and just knew I needed to get some. I remember it like it was yesterday. Actually it was the day before yesterday. I learned definitely when I was 19. My buddy had helped me clean out my mom's apartment after her passing. Our plan was to crash at his place and play video games all weekend after taking care of the apartment. The apartment had no AC and it was the hottest day of that year. On top of that, most of her things were not packed up and we had to maneuver down a narrow flight of stairs. When we got back to his place around 2 AM, we were absolutely exhausted. We decided to crash in his king-size bed. The next morning, I woke up to someone spooning me. That same someone was afflicted by the early morning malady that affects so many gentlemen. And that malady, albeit through several layers of fabric, was nestled betwixt my nethers. In that moment, I decided that I was straight. So very straight. Probably in 3rd grade, when I used to play under the hanging bridge on the playground structure, so I could look up the skirts of the girls crossing the bridge. I never seemed interested when the boys crossed. I guess that's when it hit me that I was straight. I realized I wasn't gay when I started being interested in girls, and in particular was drawn to women with wide hips and very large breasts. Then, I realized that sometimes the male body is attractive too, so I guess that's when I realized I was bi. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Let us know your thoughts on this topic. See you soon.